Hello and welcome to a Life Burst podcast. Today we're going to be reviewing the Assist LRigs in Glowing Diva set and deciding whether or not they're good. Now there's a lot of them, so let's buckle in. I'm going to try to speed through them the best I can. Our grading, our very scientific grading scale of staple, playable, barely playable, and not playable is the grading scale that we're going to use, and we're going to mostly talk about these Assist LRigs. We will talk slightly about what they bring to their respective teams, as well as what do they bring to potential team breaks or dream teams. Let's go with it. And we'll start off with Musica. Now let me go ahead and get this in the shape. There we go, so you guys can see. Musica Dolphin. This is a level 1 assist that grows for 0, has the main phase timing, and is enter, put the top 2 cards of your deck into your trash, then add 2 target non-colorless Signy from your trash that do not share a color to your hand. This is a very strange one, but let's go ahead and rate it right away. It's going to be very playable or staple in the diagram team. And here's why. Put the top 2 cards from your deck into your trash is good. You want to do that in black. Generally speaking, black likes having self-mill, and if you don't use any self-mill in your deck, it's not hurting you to do so. And then adding 2 target non-colorless Signy that do not share a color means that you have to, in your building requirement, know that you are making multiple colors, right? And this is kind of interesting in the fact that it's not sharing a color, so you actually can't grab to if it was asking, for example, blue and white like Nova does, that would be something you can grab multicolored Signy for, but multicolored Signy grabbed off of this is actually actively bad. So you would rather grab a black and a blue Signy if you can help it. It is flexible in the fact that you get to choose the colors at least, which does not constrict your deck, so that's good. The fact that it doesn't get guard out of your trash is sad, and something that you want to do, that you'd want to do. But this is not a good turn 1 play. A lot of the times when you look at these things that basically draw 2, they're used to shape your first turn hand so you can get level 1 Signies in it, and you can play offensively or defensively. And Musica will not reliably do that for you. Musica is much better turn 2 after you've been attacked, and you have some Signies in the graveyard. As such, its ability is quite strong, though, because you do get to pick the cards. So later in the game, if you can hold off doing this until turn 2, turn 3 hopefully, then you can go ahead and get back your best stuff over and over again. In Diagram, you get the ability to toss this back to your LRig deck and replay it, which means that potentially you can do this a couple times if you're like, my win condition is now in the discard pile, I need to pull this out in order to win this matchup or something. So it's a good option in Diagram as well. That's why I put it as highly playable. I don't think it's amazing because you can't shape your early game hand, but that's long enough put on Musica Dolphin. We talk about Musica Power Move next, and this is an assist black level 1 with main phase timing. Its grow cost is 0. Its enter ability is put target Signy on your opponent's field, gets negative 8,000 power till end of turn. It's good. It's playable. I don't think it's staple in Dream Teams or outside of Dream Teams in Diagram teams, but it's playable. I think you want Musica Dolphin most times. Maybe not for the Senga decks, because the Senga's decks will have access to Madoka's drawing effects. Madoka, I think it's Madoka Float or Madoka Slide, either one of those. So if you were running that blue, then you could use this as to pair it with, and it would be great. It would be fine. It would open up a lane, which is what Lancer basically does anyways. It opens a lane. But I think you'd prefer to use Dolphin. So it's playable. We get Musica Groovy. This is a level 2 with just main phase timing. Its grow cost is 0. That's pretty cool. Its enter ability, it's got 2 of them, is all Signy on your opponent's field gain auto. When this is vanished, put the top 2 cards of your deck into the trash for each of its levels, And then its other enter ability is pay colorless, 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 vanish target Signy on your opponent's field, then put the target Signy from your trash that has the same level as the vanished Signy on the opponent's field into your field. That ability itself would be much, much, much better if it had the attack phase timing. Since it does not, it basically says for 3 enter, vanish target Signy, and then draw a card. And that's an okay ability. 3 is a little expensive coming out of your LRig zone, but it is passable. And then the weird ability that you attach to all of your opponent's Signy, which is that when they're vanished, you basically mill them for every level, means that you want to do this a little later in the game, so you want to hit like level 3s and level 2s with this ability, and then you're milling them out, and oh no, now they've refreshed and you gotten a life burst damage. That's okay. You probably would rather just open a lane and hit their life burst directly at that rate, rather than making it so that way you're closer to your 1/4 to refreshing their deck a second or a third time. It does work well with their piece in terms of, yeah, you can then refresh potentially the second time with this. But it's not so, it's just weird. It's just a weird thing. I'm going to grade it barely playable. It has its uses. The only time that you'd want to use this is if you were a mill deck. If you are specifically a mill deck and you're really focusing on milling them, rather than what I think should be used mill in this game, which is just a mid-range way to add more inevitability to your decks, then I think this could be used, but I don't think it's that great. I do think that Musica Splits is a weird art card, but is also better. It's a level 2 with a grow cost of a single enter. It has the enter ability of target Signy on your opponent's field gets negative 10,000, and then you can pay 4 enter, one of those being black, and the target Signy on your opponent's field can get negative 8,000 till end of turn. And that's the attack phase timing, by the way. It's just worth it. It's just better to have attack phase timing when you're doing Signy removal, especially from your Assist LRigs here. That this is just generically a better card. It is awkward that you need to do the second removal with 4 enter, making this a total of 5 enter, but paying 1 enter for a attack phase timing removal is good on its own. You do not need to do the 4 enter as well. However, oftentimes you will get late enough in the game, since you are Diagram and you are a more mid-range deck, that you will be able to do this and pull this off. As far as Dream Teams go, if you're not Diagram, should you be using this? And the answer is you don't have really any other options in black assists right now to be using pretty much anything else. So you will use this. However, as soon as set 4 hits, you will stop using this, because the assists in set 4 in black are miles better than Musica. So it is currently playable. Not great, but playable. It becomes barely playable next set, and then becomes basically unplayable in set 4. But it says playable in the Diagram decks. I should mention that. If I was going to make my Diagram deck, I probably would use Dolphin and then Splits. Let's talk about my girl Tamago, Eggy Sensei. Its level 1 is a 0 cost grow, main phase timing. Put the target level 1 Signy on your opponent's field into the bottom of its deck. Cool, simple, sweet, I like it. I think it's playable. I don't think it's the best version of Tamago's level 1, but Tamago's level assists are all actually pretty good. So you're kind of set up for dreams with its level 1. If you wanted to be an aggressive or tempo-based deck that has blue in it, then this is a great choice, because you get to just very cheaply do the best form of removal that Wixoss has, which is putting things on the bottom of their owners' decks. It does the job. Main phase timing is sad, but all level 1s really have main phase timing. I put this down as playable. You've got Tamago double stroke roll. I think that's like the crash symbol, like brr. It's got main phase timing. Its grow cost is 0. Its enter ability is short, simple, sweet, great. You love it. Draw 2 cards. Staple. Look, if you're going to be playing the Tamago line, The fact that you have a level 1 that allows you to shape your hand at all points and times in the game in search for whatever you need is pretty good. There are better level 1s that do things like, for example, Madoka, that discards a card and then lets you draw 3 to really dig in there. And then you've got Dolphin Musica to have more card selection. But the classic level 1 draw 2 cards is a classic for a reason. It's very good. You don't want 2 of these level 1s on your field, but if you were looking to do Tamago, this is a pretty staple effect to use. Tamago level 2 is got a Crow cost of 0. It's got the attack phase timing. Its ability is enter down target Signy on your opponent's field, and also enter pay a colorless, draw 2 cards. Now this, I think we're cooking with diesel. It's good. It's actually very good as well. The fact that it can have attack phase timing and its grow cost is 0 is great for the Uchu no Hajimari decks. They want cheap ways to grow, proactive ways to grow, and easy interaction ways to grow, which this checks off literally every single one of those boxes. You are usually going to pay the 1 to draw 2 cards, but as any aggro player can tell you, that plays no limit, drawing 2 cards on your level 2 as well as drawing more on your level 1 is not terrible as long as you're using the cards. And since you have the ability to do this whenever you kind of want to, it's great. It also interacts with your opponents in an incredibly cheap manner. They've usually, generally speaking, they will open up 1 lane. So you'll go, all right, Tamago in here, close that lane down by downing your stuff and moving forward at an incredibly cheap cost because of its attack phase timing. This is a home run. It's a staple. If you were looking at the Tamago line, personally, I would run this one and run this one for pretty much most decks. However, if you were running an aggressive, way more aggressive deck, you could do this, and no one would blush an eye at it. Our last Tamago, drum roll, because it didn't have enough good, I guess, assists, was a level 2. Grow cost is 6, so ginormous grow cost here. Has the attack phase timing, down all of the opponent's Signy on your opponent's field. Uchu always has an assist that does something crazy on its level 2 for an insane cost. It's never been great. Supernova, for example, basically bounces everything back to the opponent's hand, but does it on main phase timing. And I believe Bang Super Big Bang it randomly shuffles everything and throws things out there at a incredible, I think 6 cost as well. I'm brain farting, it's not so super great. I don't actually mind having a crazy level 2 that you could pull out and surprise opponents when they're thinking that you're going to do this, and instead you do this way later down the line and it wins you the game because they weren't playing around it. It's cool for the surprise factor. Plus, you've already got this, so you really don't need much more on Tamago. But it's okay to have. It's not a great card. I will straight up say this. Grow cost 6 to down your opponent's field will buy you a turn. I kind of want to see Grow cost for that before, if I can help it. I like downing at 1 enter each, so I will pay an upcharge of 4 to do it during my opponent's attack phase and on the LRig thing because it's such a wide effect. But it kind of is cool for Dream Teams, which is strange to say. I don't think it's good for Dream Teams, but the fact that if you were using Tamago as a Dream Team, you have 2 really great level 1 options to draw yourself into it, and a level 2 option that if you want to swap it up with a crazy level 2 change up, you could, and it would be fine. We're going to talk about MC Lion. I guess I should also grade this one. This one is barely playable, probably bordering on unplayable. MC Lion. Before I even go into the MC Lion build, I'm just going to spoil something right off the top of the bat. MC Lion is one of the best Dream Teams assists that you can use. The entire line is pretty good, but specifically the 2 cards in the line are very good, and you can use them no matter what, and adding white to your Dream Team is always a pretty good option because white, generally speaking, in Wixoss is a bit of an overpowered color. So MC Lion could be your access point for doing that if you're making a Dream Team. Okay, getting into the actual assists now. MC Line, by the way, is used very widely in the Japanese meta as well as Tamago is for Dream Teams. Level 1, MC Line stand up. Its grow cost is 0, main phase timing. Target level 1 Signy on your field gains auto once a turn. When the Signy vanishes a Signy on your opponent's field through battle, up this Signy. The joke here is that when it vanishes a Signy, you get to up it, and then you will be able to attack a turn. It's like a white version of Lancer. If you can vanish the opponent's Signy, you will be able to attack a second time. Now, it might be better than Lancer. I don't know. But it's very good. It allows you to attack twice, which means that if your Signy that you're attacking with has an attack trigger, you can attack trigger it twice. There's nothing here that says it loses its abilities. That's the safety measure of most stuff that allows you to attack twice with an LRig or attack twice with a Signy. The fact that this allows you to double down on your attack triggers is pretty cool, and the fact that this basically gives Lancer means it's anyone who's played Madoka, Diagram, would tell you that Lancer is pretty good. Being able to do that and also have a double attack trigger is cool. It's strange. White seems to... This is probably one of the reasons why White is kind of a little bit of an overpowered color. They do a lot of what the other colors do, just slightly different, slightly weirder, and slightly better. So I think this is playable. However, that being said, you probably want to play MC Lion Dig. It's strange that a stand-up is just overshadowed by Dig. Dig is a staple. Its main phase timing, its grow cost is 0, its enter abilities look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Signy that shares a color with your center LRig, and 1 Signy that shares a color with an LRig that's not your center LRig. And you can add those colors, or you can add those cards to your hand and put the rest on the bottom in any order. So, again, let me just reread something real quick here. And up to 1 Signy that shares a color with an LRig that's not your center. Okay. Yes. That's not your center LRig. Okay, so this is worded strangely, but I just wanted to double check on this. You can get 2 of the same color with this if you have an Assist LRig that's also that color. Cool. So if Akino was your center and this was your assist, you can draw 2 whites. It has to be Signy, but it can be Signy of any color, and usually you're using these effects to like make your hand better, your opening hand better, to get your level 1s, level 2s. So this hits the bill among that. Digging 5 deep is really deep. It's not quite as deep as like Nova Mute, which is 7. But the fact that you can hit any colors that are represented in your team, right? Not just your center, is crazy strong. Again, compare it to Dolphin here, which doesn't let you get multicolors, doesn't let you, like, is a little harder to activate because you need to pull it from your discard zone, and doesn't get you, like, it doesn't do a lot of things, right? This does all of those things that you want, and digs a little deeper too, which is crazy. It's just super strong. It's a staple effect. If you need to get cards in your opening hand, this card will do it for you. MC Lion Disrespect is, I believe, Madoka Float's white version, again, with white just taking effects and being better at it. This is a level 2 MC Lion Disrespect. Grow cost 2. It has attack phase timing as well as main phase timing. It has 3 enter abilities. They are as follows. Target Signy on your opponent's field gains constant. The Signy can't attack till end of turn. You can also do discarding 2 cards to get the same effect. You can pay white, colorless. Target Signy on your opponent's field gains constant. This Signy can't attack till end of turn. So you get the same effect. Now, Madoka Float downs things, and this makes it so they can't attack. You could argue that this is better, and the reason being is that can attack, they probably aren't doing something, they aren't able to down and use downing effects, and if you are playing things like Vanish Target up to Signy as your life burst, then this will allow you to hit those things that were still up. So this is kind of arguably a better version. It also means that if something, for example, could attack even when downed, you have the ability to do that. Now there's probably a single card that punishes you for using this over downing with Madoka instead in set 03, but it's unlikely that you're running into that scenario, and you also have the ability to not use that in this scenario, so you could play around it if you want to. But yeah, no, this card is great. It's a super defensive thing. It's super flexible. You're always going to be at least making one lane not be able to attack. The ability to make 3 lanes not be able to attack for very cheap using your best available thing, whether that be enter or discarding 2 cards, is great. If you look at the Madoka version of this, I rate it as a staple, and you can use every single thing that I said there as a reason as to why this is good as well. MC Lion dope. If it wasn't enough, there's still more MC Lion. It's assist level 2. Its grow cost is 5, very expensive. Its main phase and attack phase timing. Its enter abilities. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. You may add up to 1 card from among them to your hand and put up to 2 Signy from among them into the field. Put the rest in the bottom in any order. The enter abilities of these Signy do not activate. Finally, there's some kind of MC Lion that is a little worse for wear. This is probably going to go into the unplayable zone. It may have been barely playable if MC Lion Disrespect didn't exist already and just kind of shuts down lane closures better than MC Lion Dope does. But MC Lion Dope is an ambush effect. It's a pretty good ambush effect. It allows you to draw a card and then put 2 Signy into the field. So inevitably you are drawing 1 card and then playing 2 Signy. So you can close 2 lanes and draw a card. It still depends on you needing to have... That's fine at 5 cost, especially because you're basically playing 1 for attack phase timing, 2 to put a Signy out there, and 1 to put another Signy out there, 1 to draw a card. But it does depend that you need to have those open lanes to fill, which inevitably you don't want to be doing because you want to be more proactive with your stuff, right? This is an example of proactive. This is an example of reactive. It would be barely playable in that result. It may be more barely playable if the enter abilities would trigger, but since they do not, barely playable, you're going to be playing this one every time over it. Let's talk about the last set of assist grows. You got Harina Glowing. Glowing, but causes a grow cost of 0. Yep, they finally fixed it. It says grow on the bottom, not glow. It grows with 0, has the main phase attack timing, not attack phase timing. It draws a card or enter charges 1. Cool. Put target card from your opponent's enter zone that does not share a color with your opponent's center LRig into their trash. So it enter burns 1, probably enter burns off color, which is not as good as enter burning on color, but it enter burns, allows you to draw a card or enter charge 1. It's very flexible. This is a example of a card that's playable due to its flexibility, but not necessarily playable due to its power. None of these things are all that great on their own. When you're doing Team No Limit, you have Ray to draw you cards, so you don't really need more card draw than that. Enter charging 1 is okay, but really the decks that want to see enter charging effects are red and green, and that No Limit does not play those. And then enter burning your opponent is dangerous when there's a piece out there, Xeno cluster, that punishes you for enter burning your opponent. So I don't think it's really all that great of a card. I'm actually going to demote it to barely playable. It's barely playable due to its flexibility, but not its power. Harina on stage, much better version of this Harina. Its grow cost is 0. It has the main phase timing. Vanish target level 2 or less Signy on your opponent's field. If you're being in an aggressive deck, this opens a lane, which is all you can really ask for at 0 enter. It's great. It's a good reason to run red. It's something that red assisting decks want to do, red supporting decks want to do. So I would run this. I also would run things like Oh, what's the card called? Love It as an assist, and this basically does Love It's assist effects as well. So this is another option for you to dream team with Harina and get some kind of lane clearing in your red assist. I think it's good. Playable is what it is. Not broken or anything. It's just playable. Your level 2 here is Harina Honest and Earnest. Its grow cost is 2. It's got an attack phase timing as well as main phase timing. Enter ability, there's 2 of them. Vanish target level 2 Signy or less on your opponent's field. And then its other is colorless, 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 colorless. That's 5 colorless for you. Vanish target level 3 Signy on your opponent's field. This one is barely playable. That is a very expensive ability to basically vanish 2 Signy, and the level 2 being able to hit level 2 or less is okay, but not great as the game goes on, therefore it gets kind of a knock. Kind of cool that it has an attack phase timing. Opening up 2 lanes on your opponent's attack phase is great, but opening up 2 at the cost of 7 is difficult. If this grow cost was 0, this would be playable, as its grow cost is 2, and then to do the 2 lanes, which would make this card more playable, cost 7 total. I would not super want to play this one, so I'm going to go with barely playable. Harina Power On, I think this is the better version of the level 2 Harinas here. Your level 2 is going to be grow cost 1, only has main phase timing, allows you to draw, when it enters, draw 2 cards or enter charge 2, and vanish target Signy on your opponent's field. Not according to level, just vanish it, so it opens up a lane. I think if you're going to be an aggressive red deck, or an aggressive deck that also wants support of red, this is a pretty good assist. Again, not the greatest assist. Being able to have the flexibility between drawing 2 cards or enter charging 2 is not actually all that bad. It can get you some more expensive stuff later down the line, pay for its own grow cost, and it opens up a lane non-conditionally, period. So that's good too. It also balances itself nicely with Ray, because your Ray options often are drawing you cards, so the ability to choose not to draw cards off this, instead enter charge 2 in those scenarios, is great. And then when Ray becomes a center, you can also use this to do what Ray was doing, which was drawing cards for your aggro deck. This becomes really good then. So I would say that this is playable. Again, it's not a staple, it's not broken, it's not utterly amazing, but it is very good. And with that, we've gone through all of our assists here. As I've stated before, with Harina, I probably would use On Stage and Power On if I was doing No Limit. And with MC Lion, I would probably use Dig and Disrespect in pretty much all Dream Teams, let alone Card Jockey. Tamago, great for Dream Teams. MC Lion, great for Dream Teams. Harina, okay for No Limit decks. And then Musica, pretty actively good for Madoka decks. So that's where I would see these being playable if you were going to play these cards. And with that, we're done our assist review. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, please flip that life burst to beat your opponents.